We're very interested as to how you got involved in the stage originally. How did you first get led into the stage?
Led was not, yes, I suppose in a way that was it. Granny was very determined. Having been a frustrated actress herself, she was determined that somebody in the family was going to carry on the tradition. So it was me, poor me. Well, Hart used to sing in the operettas. He had a really good voice. Lottie had a good contralto voice, because that was not impressive, but she was too nervous. I was the only one that had all the cheek in the world. So, no, and then so she started me on with dancing, singing, and teaching, all that sort of thing, when I was very young. And my cousin, well, and how it happened was that my cousin started a dance studio. My cousin Cecile, who was an excellent ballerina and had been a choreographer instructor for somebody called Annie Croft, who had a great big school of dance. And so we all went there to help her get started. You see.
She was older than you, your cousin?
Oh yes, she was about Lottie's age.
Oh yeah. Was she about 8 years older than you?
9.
9. And
so consequently, but anyway, this is the spotting, this not anyway, everything. Well, I must have started when I was about 5, dancing in her school, and then every Saturday morning as we got older, we would have a little sort of, boys came to learn to ballroom dance. In those days, they did that, you see. Yeah. And then there was, so from then on I was doing concerts, and we had yearly concerts, and you got presents and you worked hard, and like you do here in amateur theatre. And then I went to the States to be finished off with a Professor Corner, and stayed with an old crow.
In Hull?
No, I went to London, from Hull. I've been doing all this other stuff in Hull.
So you went to London?
Went to London and decided after I'd been there for a month, I was supposed to be there for 3 to 6 months, I decided after 3 months that I didn't want to go back to Hull. So I wanted to go back. So
and you were 18?
18. Just after I was 18. So that's how it all started. Got a job, I met Peggy, we toured, and then we got jobs and I was a good dancer, I would say that. Sort of voice, musical comedy voice, could get away with soubrette stuff. But I found that I was not too nervous a person. I mean, I've been used to since I was a young girl, with an audience, not as large or something. And we all went to dancing school with him.
Was it really your passion? Was dancing really what you really loved?
Dancing really was what I loved to do. Yes, and I was a good dancer, I'll say that. So I danced in sort of Splendid, which was a big club. I danced at the Barclay Butlers. I danced at the Trocadero. There was lots of places. And I toured in some shows. I was in Blue Eyes, Winona. Oh, 1 or 2.
As lead parts?
Soubrette parts.
Soubrette, which is like backup.
And then you dance.
Not actual lead, but supporting actors.
Not lead.
Supporting parts.
For leads in music comedies, you've got to have a good voice. You see. Not an operatic voice, but a good voice.
So is it soubrette like in the chorus?
Soubrette is like the second lead.
Yeah, supporting lead.
They call him the matinee type. The second one would be very good. Some of them went off to be leads because they didn't carry the whole show. They just do certain numbers in. He could be the comedian, or he could be the... But in Sunny, I was in that. It was quite a leading part because it was a light thing. You know, who makes my heart go away, who... All that sort of thing, you see. Then you break out after that, and then you go into a shuffle dance. You know.
Well, then,
it was really fun. You see, if you do it when it's fun to you, but if it gets to be a chore, there's not much point, and it can get very boring.
Boring.
Boring, if you need a word.
If
boring
is for a word.
So, I know there's lots of other things I could tell you, but that's the sort of basic, that's the outline.
Right.
And it was always looked upon as that I would, but of course I think the family are still waiting for me to come to a no good end. So anybody who goes off to the big city at 18 years of age Anything could happen.
Well, Gran, do you wish you could still dance like that? Or would you...
As a matter of fact, I could still dance if I had the breath to do it, and if I was still training. But actually, as what's his name said, I can't remember his name, a great choreographer, and he did things like cabaret, choreographer, those things.
Oh.
And he died some...
Ebb and that guy.
Oh, yeah, you know who I mean. And
Yeah.
I can't. I'm very bad on names at the moment.
Cantor and Ebb or something?
No. Oh, Eddie Cantor was one, but he was a comedian, if that's way back ago. I'm talking about a choreographer who was excellent. And then there was another one that trained us when I was with the dance school in London, was Billy Bradley, and he was a black man. And he was an American. And of course, he did a lot of choreography for the Broadway shows and things like that. So he was into not ballet so much, although he was ballet trained. He was into movements, you know. So as they said, not only him, but as they said, there are only about 6 basic, really great movements in ballet. Not so much ballet, there's a lot of other things. But in, what do they call it, jazz dance and that sort of thing, it's mostly movement. 6 basic, if you know the steps, it's up to you to make of them what you can and what's in you. Some people can know the basic steps, but they have no sense of instinctive rhythm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that makes all the difference, really. Because it's what you do with your face, it's what you do with your hands, it's what you do with the body. You just have to move, and you can say something, you know. So that's why the great dancers are always, they move more than they do actually basic steps. So that's that. Did that answer your question in a few words?
Yay! No, we're just getting going. That's lovely. I want to hear more.
No, you're not going to
French bread for supper?
Oh, yes, please,
with
darling.
your eggs?
That would be lovely, darling, yes.
Finish the last pair, somebody, and I'll
Well, at any rate, somebody else now. I'm not going to
Well, that's the point. We want you to talk.
I know, but that's what I say. You remember the word.
So when you lived in London for the first few weeks, was there any... Was anything about it that scared you? The size and all the people?
Oh, no, I loved it. I loved it. The bustle of the people and the traffic. And I was in a sort of, well, it was an old pro called Ethel Watkins, who ran this boarding house thing. Oh, she was an absolute dear. I mean, she was getting on. She was haggard, but she was always made up as though she was just going on the stage, you know. Overture and beginners, and she was all ready, you see. She'd come down. Every Sunday, and we were all there. There was Valletta Jacopi, who was training to be an opera star. She had a beautiful voice. She was a real opera. I never had her afterwards there. I did see a couple of her shows. They did a Carmen, and she was very good. And then there was a couple of fellows there aspiring to be actors. A couple of dancers and that. She had about 6 of them, about 8, and her own 2 daughters. And every Sunday afternoon, we used to have tea. We all met for tea, because most people were out either rehearsing or with a show or something. But we're all training, that's all, we're just training. And she used to come with her little white gloves on and sit at the head of the table with her best teapot out and everything else. And we all had to sit down and be very demure. And we always had tinned fruit and cream. Little sandwiches and tinned fruit and cream.
At the dance school?
Well, where I lived, in the
Oh, I see.
In Islington.
And
she was an old pro, you see.
Oh.
And then so she took training students in, and sometimes professional ones who were already making it, if they weren't making any money, because she was very cheap. She was a friend of my mother's, actually.
And that's how you came to live there?
Yes, well, not the friend of my mother's, but a friend of my mother's.
Right.
You see, it all was rather sort of complicated. That's how it came about.
So you went to London to get on the stage, and that's why you just went to her.
And I went home for a while, and I decided I did not want to stay.
Right.
So I was not very popular in my dad when I said I'm going back, and I did.
And you don't regret it, do you?
No, not at all. I'm still very very friendly with my family, and they were very good to me. I mean, you know, if I went home, Mother would say to me, "My goodness, you look like an unmade bed." She'd take me out and buy me a new outfit. That's the reason I went back looking like an unmade bed.